They did it. They actually did it. Respawn and EA have actually gone and fixed, allegedly, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's a glorious day. The game launched pretty rough, but apparently with the update that dropped yesterday or today, I don't know when you're seeing this video, they fixed it. So now on PC, it should run much better with DLSS available as well. And on console, it should also support 60 FPS, completely stable, completely changing the game. Like, literally, it's going to be amazing. Now, I felt that this was one of the most impressive games that launched this year, which is why it was all the more frustrating that it ran so poorly when it launched. Even on current generation consoles like the PS5 and Xbox Series X, it still struggled to look even slightly clear and crisp. It was stuttery like crazy. And it was just overall very difficult to enjoy as a package game, because this is a title with a pretty intense combat system and you need pretty well optimized performance to maintain decent frame rates so that you aren't like trying to block something or parry something and having that attack just slip through because the frames happen to drop at that exact moment. But now if we go into the settings, we can actually go over to visuals. You can see I've got it set to 4K, everything's set to epic. But if we go all the way down, we can turn on or off ray tracing. That's great. But by default, AMD FX Super Resolution is enabled. And before, if we were to turn that off, it was just rendering natively, or you could lower the rendered resolution, I guess, to get better performance, but you were kind of just screwed if you didn't like AMD FSR2, which I don't think anybody should, because it's way, way worse than DLSS. Like, it's not even close. But now, as you can see, they've added DLSS 3 as a feature, so you can turn that on. And weirdly enough, it's not enabling me to do frame generation. Do I have to turn off VSync maybe? No. As I've said 1,000 times in these videos, I'm sure it's getting very old. I'm running a 4090. That thing is capable of frame generation, so I'm not sure what would be causing the trouble. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea why frame generation is not available with this kit up. It frankly should be. I've used frame generation and everything else like Cyberpunk 2077 and all of that. So I don't know why this all of a sudden is throwing a fit, but it is. So we're just going to roll with it. But as you can see right now, just with DLSS turned on, we are already seeing the ghosting effect we were dealing with before is almost entirely gone. And even if I drop it to like performance or ultra performance, which renders it at like 720p and then upscales it all the way up, it still looks way better than even using AMD FSR2 scaling up with a high resolution. Like DLSS, I'll tell you what, it's just crazy how well it works. It's wild. It's about the closest thing to gaming magic I've ever seen. And just here, I mean, comparing the performance right now with it set to quality at this point, we're at like 94, occasionally dropping down to like the high 80s. But again, this is at 4K with it set to quality. If we go back to visuals, go all the way down, and we drop it to like performance, back all the way back out, we're all the way up into like 110 territory, floating up there, which makes sense because this is mostly CPU bound up at these high resolutions here. So that's still pretty good. They've made a lot of progress, and I gotta give them credit where credit is due. They've actually improved this a lot. Not only does it look way sharper, it's also running way smoother. And if we turn off DLSS completely and we just run it natively, I'm guessing it's gonna be running, yeah, in the like mid 60s ish, but it is way crispier than it was before. I mean, again, night and day. I mean, it's just way, way better. Way better. Okay, so at that point, I'm ready to say that the PC port is effectively fixed. This is how it should have launched. The fact that we had to wait, like, whatever it's been, it launched in April. So April, May, June, July, August, and now going into September. I mean, it took the better part of half a year to get to this point where it should have been when it launched, frankly. But I'm glad we're here nonetheless. And you know what? If you were somebody that wanted to play this game back at launch, but the performance was just too shaky for you, this could be a very good time to perhaps give it a try, jump in. Because like I said, I think that this game is tremendous. I think it's one of the best of the year. It's just too bad that it launched so broken for most players. Oh, he was invisible for a minute. Did you see that? Okay, maybe it's not perfectly fixed. I don't know, Jacob, do an instant replay. Was he invisible? I didn't see that guy at all. Anyway, let's see how it runs on console now. I have it booting up on the PlayStation 5, and we're gonna see what that looks like. Because again, the PC performance was not great, but the console performance was really, really rough, considering they gave you the option for like performance and quality mode, but they didn't actually have different frame rates, and they both looked kind of terrible. So let's see if they fixed it. And okay, we're back, but we are on the PlayStation 5, and already it seems to be smoother while exploring. It's definitely in performance mode. I mean, you can definitely tell it's pretty hazy compared to what we were just looking at on PC, especially if you go down to the little gear icon in the player and you swap that to 4K 60, which is what this video is being recorded in. You can definitely see a difference between native 4K on the PC and what they're doing here in performance mode. But if you go into the settings, you can actually see what is going on here. We have ray tracing enabled for quality mode, targeting 30, but now on performance mode, they lower the resolution target, disable ray tracing entirely, and then shoot for 60. And this might be like, no duh, of course that's what they do, Luke, but my understanding is that they actually still had ray tracing enabled in performance mode on the original console version of the game, which is baffling. I don't know why they would do that, but they did. But you know what? Let's see what quality mode looks like, because especially these screen space reflections are really gross. Just look under BD1. Like, you see those weird artifacts on the water? That's screen space reflections, and it always looks just kind of bleh when you've seen like ray trace reflections. So let's see if they actually do that, or if the ray tracing is just for other stuff that looks less noticeable. Actually, much better, much better. No more artifacting in the reflections. It's definitely a lot sharper looking off in the distance. It looks way sharper. There's still a little bit of artifacting on the water. I'm not sure what that is. It's like ghosting almost on the water. I don't know what that is. I don't know if they're using FSR2 or something in quality mode as well. But yeah, that dropped to 30 frames. Man, you feel that. Oh, baby. I mean, I'll defend quality mode here for a second. I have always found it kind of stupid that people will try to dismiss games entirely for only targeting 30 FPS on console, for example, like with Starfield, because some of the greatest games of all time, in fact, most of the greatest games of all time, launched at 30 FPS, whether you're talking about like The Last of Us originally back in 2013, or you talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, or for some people like Grand Theft Auto 5, like all of these games launched at 30, and being able to play at 60 is a pretty novel concept. They're trying to take me down. I'm busy. In fact, I'm so busy, I'm gonna go and swap this back to performance mode because I like the 60 frames, and then wait for everything to pop back in. Look at that. Look at that. There it goes. It's got to load in. Cut it a break. But yeah, anyway, I think that a lot of these devs should get cut a little bit of slack. I don't think 30 FPS is like totally unacceptable. I think there's circumstances where it can make sense. Third-person adventure games, I think it's much more tolerable than in, say, like first-person shooters. So in this case, this type of game, it's not ideal. Of course, I'd prefer 60, but it's also not like, it's not damning. So already right off the bat, it feels way more solid. I mean, before the game was barely maintaining like 45 FPS on performance mode, and now it's locked at 60 as far as I can tell. And if we go to a couple of different places with some different visual elements to look at, I mean, this space previously, prior to this patch, I mean, it chugged up here. This dropped the game to like 35 frames on performance mode, and about the same on quality mode. So, I mean, this just frankly, it seems like they did it. It seems like they actually got this to run pretty stable. I mean, what if we start really moving quickly? Is that gonna just like totally break it? This was also something, if we started like sprinting and then zipping around really quickly, that's something that would cause it to kind of break. Let's see. It's been a minute, okay? It's been like a few months. Like I need a couple of minutes just to catch back up. Remember how to play the damn thing. But already I can tell you this is a massive update. Prior to this update, I mean, this area especially really chugged for me on PS5. And it's just locked at 60. This is very, very nice. And I got to give them credit. Like, the game came out. It was critically acclaimed. They got, I'm sure, a good number of copies sold. Everybody really loved the game. So they could have just moved on. Like a lot of other studios will release a game, they get their bag, and then they bail. But, you know, they went back and they fixed it and they made it better. And while I definitely think it should have been like this to begin with, it's nice to see that they at least went back and did it. You know, I guess better late than never. I can't complain that much because at least they did the thing. So I'll give them credit there. Again, like, they should have done it to begin with, but I'll take what I can get. I'm also just generally amazed that it took months and months to actually get this out the door. Like, I'm just honestly intrigued. Like, did it actually take that long to fix it with the team working on it? Or was this something where, like, they only had a team of 10 people working on fixes and everybody else moved on to work on whatever the next project is? I really don't know. But I'll tell you what, if you've been waiting to jump on this game for when they fixed it, I mean, this is the time. They actually did it. I don't think it's currently on sale anywhere, but who knows? Maybe you're going to be the one to find the sale. I don't know. So you know what? Props to the devs over at Respawn that worked on Jedi Survivor. They actually made it better. And while it definitely should have been like this to begin with, again, like, I'll take what I can get. It's a free update. We'll just count it as a win. But at the same time, like, I don't want to just give them the clap, like the Brett Favre clap. I don't want to do that because, like, they still released it super buggy, borderline broken for a lot of people. And they did that because they knew that it would still review well and still sell millions and millions of copies, still be at the top of many people's Game of the Year lists. And then they could go in and fix it later. Like, I really detest that as a business practice, that they were like, oh no, we'll just shove it out and then in 5 months we'll fix it and then everybody will give us a pat on the back because we fixed it when it was broken. It's like this weird Machiavellian, you know, oh, they don't know how good they have it until we show them how bad it could be and then we fix it for them, when in reality we weren't being that nice by fixing it. We should have never put them in that situation to begin with, but they'll be thankful because they saw what it was like before we fixed it or something. I don't know. It's been a long time since I read The Prince. It was like back in high school. But you know what? It has also been a minute this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more gaming videos where I ramble about stuff if that intrigues you. I'm bad at outros to videos. I don't really ever know what to say, so bye.